Hey guys, it's Eric, and here to talk to you about how I survived COVID-19 in 2018. Now you're sitting there and you're saying, wait a minute, Eric, COVID-19 didn't even exist in 2018 because 19 from the COVID-19 means 2019. How could you have survived a virus that didn't even exist and existed in another country in 2019, didn't even get to America until 2020? So, not specifically talking about COVID-19, but what I am talking about is what COVID-19 is bringing about. Because right now, COVID-19 is producing a double whammy for a lot of folks, which is A, it's producing the physical fear, right? Because especially right now, we're seeing a resurgence of the virus in the United States. So it's producing the physical fear of, I'm going to get sick, maybe die, etc. So there's that whole life and death fear, but there's also the business fear, right? Because it's affecting your business, potentially, hopefully not, but potentially affecting your business negatively and everything. So you say, okay, so how did I survive, and what am I even talking about? So in 2018, and the parallel that I'm drawing is I'm talking about the physical and the business wise. So in 2016, I got diagnosed with some heart stuff, and I got very nervous about it, and everything was financially and business wise, everything was going great. Um, Then I had this heart stuff in late 2016, and all of a sudden I just became hyper focused, and I spent all of 2017 um, really, I just kind of let my business go by the wayside and everything, and I was really just focused on, doing stuff to get my heart better. So I did energy work, I did Chinese medicine, I did any alternative therapies, I did, various types of supplements and pills and diets and all this different stuff. And really, all I cared about was fixing these issues with my heart. So then in early 2018, I came to a point where my business had, kind of gone off the rails. I mean, I still had clients, I was still doing stuff, but, monetarily things had gone down. And it was because I had taken my eye off the ball, right? I was purely focused on my physical. Um, so there I was, and I was still concerned about my physical health at this point in time. So there I was in early 2018, facing the double whammy, right? I was nervous about my business because I'd kind of gotten so out of sync with everything, and I was also worried about my physical health, about being maybe dead the next day and whatever. So how did I bounce back? What did I do? Well, I really got into meditation. I got into visualization. I really got back into my brain work and my spiritual work and everything. But what I wanted to talk to you about, and a trick that you can use, that I discovered that I used for a long time and still use to this day, that's sort of a quick, get you in the right mind um, thing. And I used it both for when I was afraid physically, for my life and everything, but also when I found myself nervous about my business. Because utilizing this tactic, with all the other stuff that I did, but this tactic specifically, um, allowed me to get over the physical fear of being dropping dead or something the next day, and it got me back on track business wise, got me focused, and got me back into the flow of business, and started eventually bringing my business back. So what is this tactic, how does it work and everything? Well, it's really simple. So there's a construct out there. Carl Jung made it famous, but it's a construct that's been out around for forever, and also kind of proves itself in physics, which is that everything contains its opposite, right? So if you look like at an atom, an atom contains a proton, a neutron, and an electron. So the proton positively charged, the electron negatively charged, right? So the atom contains both the positive and the negative. It contains its opposites, and the neutron sits there in the middle as the neutral observer. So in your life, every physical thing contains its opposite, right? Because everything is made of atoms, but also every situation contains its opposite. You can only know that, you can only know the difference between light and dark because you know what dark is, you know what light is, and vice versa. You only know what pain is, you only know what pleasure is because you know what pain is, and all that. So everything contains its opposite and the potentiality for its opposite. So what I did is I took this understanding and I created a physical, visceral, and representation, very simplistic, that I used on a regular basis, and I call it the coin flip. So how does the coin flip work? So, for example, if I was really scared about, health issues or something, right? What I would do is I'd close my eyes and I would visualize, I would get in the feeling of that fear. And I would take all the elements. What are all the various things, and the outcomes I'm afraid of, and how does that feel? And I mean, I got everything into a big glob, and I felt it and I saw it and everything in my mind. And then what I would do is I would take that blob of negative energy and I would visualize a coin, and a coin, heads and tails, right? So I would put the coin in my mind, heads down, face down, face down. So I was looking at tails, and I would take that big blob and I would, and I would push it onto the back of that coin, right? And I would make sure that I felt it go onto the coin. And as soon as it's like, okay, I feel it, I've placed it there, it's on, I'm still connected to it, but I'm seeing it, feeling it, sensing it on the back of the coin. And then what I did was, in my mind, I'd start to see the coin flip. And I'd make the coin flip slowly at the speed that I could feel it start to flip. And on the other side, as I was flipping it over, I envisioned, well, what would be on the other side of that coin, right? Because if this is all the bad and all the negative and everything else, then what's the opposite of that? And that has to be on the other side of the coin. And as I would lift it, I'd start to see light. And the more I lifted the coin, the more light shone and the more the dark started to fade. And only as fast as I could feel the change, feel the movement, feel the elevation and emotion, I'd feel myself, flipping the coin over and over until finally, until I could feel all of the negative energy fade and be fully engaged, fully locked into the opposite, the fully elevated emotion. So I would use this for fear around my business or around my health or anything. But, in any way, shape, or form, as soon as any sort of negative thing came, I got to the point where I would just, even if it was a little negative thing, like wanting, having an argument with somebody or something, or somebody cutting me off on the road, right? I would just put it on the coin and okay. And what you will find is that if you start to take your fears, you start to take the things, all the bad outcomes and everything you're visualizing, put it on the coin, flip, put it on the coin, flip, raise your emotion, raise your emotion. The more you raise your emotion, flip the coin, raise your emotion, you'll find that your mind elevates and you'll think clearer. And all of a sudden, as you're thinking clear, you're getting all of those good ideas. You're ignoring all the crap that's not worth your attention. As my old teacher Harv Eker said, what you resist persists. You'll take your mind off what you don't want, right? And you'll just keep thinking about what you do want. And now that you're in that clear state, that higher brain state, better ideas, more coincidence, more connections, more clarity, all the stuff that you really want starts to, come into your world. Anyway, so there you go. That's how I survived COVID-19 in 2018. And I hope that that tactic works for you. I know, again, we're in a time of fear and flux and everything. So I offer this to you with a full heart, hoping that you will put it into work both in with your personal life, with your health, with your business, and all aspects of your life to help bring you to that clear mind so that you can focus on what you desire, bring what you desire to you, and ultimately have the life, business, health, etc. that you want. All right? Anyway, see you again soon.